So this is the Wyze Cam. Here's the model number. The Wyze Camera Pan. So they're very popular cameras. I just couldn't find a video that shows you how to completely disassemble it. So at the back of the camera you have this cover. Just remove it. It's a little plastic cover. Set it aside so you don't lose it. And at the bottom you will see a sticker. Just remove that sticker until you expose the second screw. And that's it. There's only 2 screws hold the back cover of this camera. You're probably going to avoid your warranty if you do that. So just quick disclaimer, I'm not responsible. You do it at your own risk. So they are nice little cameras. The software, I think, is what made me want to buy these cameras, because it has facial person recognition, motion detection, and it texts you if it recognizes a person wherever you set the camera. So go ahead and use a Phillips screwdriver. Remove the 2 screws. And I use a little magnetic mat from an old iPhone repair kit that I have, so that I don't lose the screws. And I group them together. There's gonna be a few more screws. So these 2 go together, so that way I'll know where to put them back. Luckily, most of the screws in this camera are Phillips and the same size, most of them. A couple of ones are a little bit bigger, unlike the big companies that make it harder for small repair shops to repair their products. This is not as bad. Slide down the cover and it will pop out. It has tabs on the side. All you need to do is slide it down and use like a plastic tool like that to just pop it up. But be careful, don't pull too hard, because it's still connected with some wires. The back of the camera has a USB port and also a speaker, and those are still connected to the main board. So just open it up like this and set it on the side. Also, just you want to try to free up the bottom of the camera. So I'm going to move it around. And the easiest way I found to do that is just to I'm trying to remove the cable. I don't think it's easier like that. So I'm gonna probably just try to get the bottom of the camera free. Just basically by, there you go. You just pop the sides up, each side, and the bottom of the camera is now free. So now they're both free. You can work the cables a little bit better. So there's a couple of cables to the main board that needs to be disconnected. The first one is going to be the speaker cable that goes to the back of the camera. So just gently unplug it and set it aside. So again, this is the back of the camera with a speaker and a USB. You can see the black part of the connector is what needs to be lifted upwards before you can gently pull the cable. Be very gentle, you could damage these cables. On the main board, there are a couple of connections. The first one is going to be to the camera lens. So there is a rubber piece here that protects the front. I think it's the microphone. Yeah, it's the microphone in the front. And it goes back. When you reassemble it, don't lose it, because it goes back like this. It has two holes that fits on the main board. Okay, so basically we're gonna try to get that main board free. So we have to remove a few connections. This first one here is to the motor of the camera, which is the one that goes up and down. The lens that goes up and down. Be gentle here. It's only, it goes from, like, you could tug it from side to side up and it will come off. Don't pull from the cables because you could damage the cables. So this one is out. There is the Wi-Fi antenna. The Wi-Fi antenna is connected to the board right there at the corner. So you have to take that off with a plastic pry tool. It's underneath that cable here, which I already disconnected that. That goes to the speaker. So here's the Wi-Fi antenna connector. Just disconnect that. It's basically like a Lego, it just pops out. And the antenna is actually on the side of the housing there, you see it. And then there's the data cable to the lens camera. Again, there's a black tab, just pull the black tab up on both sides and gently pull the cable out. And note the way it is so that you put it back exactly the same way. There's a blue side on the cable. And when you put it back, just put it back the same way. It's on the other side. You can see here I use a pry tool to lift the black tab up on one side. It has a tendency to want to close back on you. Just hold it with both fingers while you pull the cable out. I'm sorry, I'm using one hand to film and one hand to do the repair. So it's a little bit shaky. And there you go. This is the main housing, I guess, is free from the main board. Put it aside. The point here is to actually get to the bottom where there is the USB connector. Now this is the front side of the main board. And there's a couple of screws holding it. So in order to remove everything, I'm gonna have to get those cables out. So this is the second motor, the one that actually panned the camera itself. Over, I think, 360 or 55 degree actually. That's what makes those cameras different. When you set it up, you can actually move it almost 365 degrees, 360 or 355. And it also, the lens moves up and down. That's pretty cool. And when you set it on auto detection, it will move on its own and follow movements. So I unplugged the motor. And now I'm going to just take out these two screws, the two next screw that will free up the main board. Here's one, here's two. A lot easier if I had both hands. I'm sorry, I'm not at the most professional setup because I'm not at my workplace. I'm doing this at home in my kitchen counter. So I didn't have all the cameras that I normally use, just my phone. But nevertheless, I wanted to make a quick video about that because I don't think there's a lot of videos that shows how to disassemble these cameras. So here's my two screws on the magnetic mat. And then this just now is free. But one more cable, I think, one or two. Let's see. Is the main, this one is actually the main power cable, the one that comes from the micro USB port to the main board. That's the one that supplies the main power. So yeah, be gentle with that. At one point it was giving me a hard time with one hand, but I managed to get it off. Again, don't pull from the wires, just pull left and right from the side. Use your fingernails or use a gentle plastic pry tool. And there it goes. It's free. So basically this is your main board free from the bottom of the camera. Now for the bottom of the camera there's a few more things to take care of. And here's a view of the main board. One side with the connector. The other side that has the LED and the micro SD card. That's the front side. That's where the LED is. And the microphone. Okay, set that aside. Here we have to take off 2 screws to free the motor. And this motor has some kind of plastic gear that turns and pans the camera. Again, set it aside and set the second one next to it in a sequence, so you know when you reassemble this, it's just the reverse. It's fairly easy to take out. Sometimes the problem is when you want to reassemble it, but reassembling it is not that hard if you have a method. My method is basically to keep the pair of screws together in a same line, and then I go backwards and I have the parts to match with it. So here's number 2, and this now frees up the motor with the little gear. Set it aside. Now you have to remove the main gear here. 2 more screws. Yeah, luckily they're all the same size. So even if you mix them up, the only 2 large screws are the one holding the motor. And I think the rest are the same size, except for the ones, the last 2 ones will be for the USB port, and they are shiny silver screws, not black. So it's very easy. It's not hard to do. And you can use a regular screwdriver for that. It's pretty cool. So here, this gear is free. Just pull it out and pull the cable, the power cable, through it in the middle and set it aside. Remember which way it was. So now in order to get to that cable, you don't have to remove actually this ring, but I did it anyway here to disassemble it. This metal bracket that has 3 screws holds some kind of bearing that allows the whole base of the camera to rotate. Remove the 3 screws, which will remove the bracket. This one. This is in real time, huh? Here's the second one. I think, oh, that's the third one, sorry. Third and last one. All right. It helps if your screwdriver is magnetic. There you go. Then that's 3. And this comes out, set it aside. Here's the bearing. Now the bottom of the base is free. You just push it through it and pull, and it comes out with the cable. Okay, so here's the bottom of the camera, and here's the actual port, micro USB port that supplies the power to the camera. Now in my case, this was not making a good connection, so I wanted to change it or see if I could fix it. I ended up swapping it with another camera, and it worked. So here are the two silver screws that hold the micro USB port together. Just take them off. They are the last two screws of this assembly. So in reverse, these will be the first ones you use. And there's like a little rubber ring that holds the cable together. Just slide the ring out with the micro USB port. And there you go, it's completely disassembled. The process to put it back together is actually all in reverse. So again, thanks for watching. I hope this helps. If so, please like, comment, and subscribe.